Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today is February 25th, 2020. And this video is sponsored by Negative Supply, who is a company that is helping us digitize our film, providing tools that will ensure that it's easier and faster. They actually have now a Kickstarter campaign for a 120 film carrier that basically holds your film flat for DSLR or mirrorless scanning. And it can do up to 6x9, or you could do 6x12, 6x17 and such by stitching. A lot of people have been doing stitching in other formats, so it's not complicated. But yeah, you can go now on Kickstarter. There's around 2 more weeks. Still no stretch goals, but I've heard what might be coming as a stretch goal, and it's pretty cool, and I can't say much more than that. So yeah, thanks for them to sponsoring, and as I said, their Kickstarter is still going on. Then I want to give a quick update. Carmencita, the film lab in Valencia, has opened a little office in Lisbon. So if you're in Portugal or local, or you're traveling and maybe you don't want to fly with your film because of this whole CT scanners, now you can drop off your film there or ship it there. That's coming from Carmencita. Then we have a little update from Nons. That SLR that's on Kickstarter that shoots on Instax Mini with an M42 mount and actually kind of gives a huge vignette because it's a circle inside an Instax Mini. For those who enjoy it, that's great, but they've given it a little update, and I'm going to go point by point, but the link is below. They're going to increase the diameter of the built-in shutter. They're going to try it right now. Currently it's 30 millimeters in the product prototype, and they're attempting to incorporate a larger shutter in the final product. A lot of people want to use it as a do-it-yourself kind of camera, so that would make lenses that are bigger maybe be adaptable and cover the whole frame. Support for a wider range of lens mounts. They want the EXA mount, which maybe it's the Exacta, OM, Olympus, the Yashica mount, and Nikon F mount, etc. Basically, they're going to try to reduce the focal length, and maybe people can adapt them, kind of like a mirrorless camera, which would be really cool. And then they have a little update of minimizing or eliminating the vignetting, which I think is something we all concur that'd be great. The vignetting is more due to the fact that 35mm lenses don't cover more than 24 by 36. So it's a circle with that rectangle inside. Maybe some older lenses, some special lenses cover a bit more, especially when you're focused a little closer, like a macro lens will have a bigger projection. But yeah, that would be great. It's just really cool to see that they've invented a little an SLR, shutter and all, that can shoot into an Instax back. We just need a lens that can cover the Instax, and then, you got it. Then we have a little update from Voigtlander, which is interesting. They've announced their 35mm 1.2 lens Mark III. If you know about the 35mm 1.2, there was a first version that was pretty big. Then there was a second version that was pretty much just as big. And now this one is 30% lighter and 20% shorter. So why is this important? When you're shooting 35mm rangefinders, you have a big problem because the patch and the rangefinder of Windows, if the lens is very big, it will cut a part of your frame. So you won't be seeing maybe the 10% or 20% of the bottom right corner. The problem is the bigger the lens is and the longer it is, the more it goes into your frame. So for example, the Noctilux or the 90mm Apo and things like that, and I don't have all of those lenses to let you know, but those usually have those issues. So making a very wide aperture and small lens is not an easy task. So they've come out with this Mark III, which is pretty cool. It was going to be announced at the fair in Japan, but due to the virus, they canceled it, and they announced it just, randomly. I don't really know where, but I found it. And it's here for around $1,000 something, $1,100 or so dollars. You can get your 35mm f1.2 for Leica M mount. Then we have another little Kickstarter that was the Escura camera. It was like some vintage American car, like muscle car looking Instax camera that you hand cranked. And I think it was successful. I can't remember. I announced it here, but I can't remember exactly if it made it. And now they've come out with the Hasselback. So it's basically a back for your Hasselblad that shoots Instax Mini. I haven't seen all the details yet. There's no Kickstarter yet. I'm just going to link to a couple pictures and a video that a YouTuber made in Japan. I've heard that to focus, you have to take off the back and focus and then put the back, which probably means they couldn't respect the flange distance, that the film one had, which would be a huge bummer, which means you can't just look through your Hasselblad and shoot through it. That would be the best. But I understand that maybe the film is so close to the camera that the Instax frame on its own is already too thick. So hopefully I'm mistaken, but you can go check it out. I will probably watch the video later. Then there's also news from Silverfast, the scanning software. They've made a little bundle with the Epson scanners, so any owner of the V550 and V600 can go to Silverfast, and I'll put the link below. It doesn't seem to be easy to find unless you have the link, and you can download it for free. So the V550 or V600, you need your, serial number, so you can't just, find and try to download it for free. But if you have a friend or someone that doesn't need the Silverfast anymore, maybe they can just give you their serial, which would be great. Then we have a little update from Silberra in Russia. And it's strange because it's not on their Indiegogo. It's coming through analogwonderland.co. So they talk about all the issues they've had. They talk about what they're going to do with their film. They talk about who's going to get their perks or not. Basically, they've had a lot of problems throughout the way. One of their main providers of finishing or converting film canceled their agreement on their own terms. And basically they've been having to do things slower. So far they said that they've sent backers 50% of their tires, so 50% of people got their goods, and they will give everyone their film. They just will take a little longer, and some films maybe will be changed to different films if there's no stock or they couldn't make it. So far the biggest issue is 120. All the 35 seems to be a little easier for them to do. Then we have from Chroma Camera, we have news. Chroma Camera has announced a little carbon camera, and it looks really good, and supposedly there'll be a couple units to purchase at the photography show in Birmingham. So if you're gonna go there, take your pocket money and maybe you can buy one of these Chroma. I have to say it looks really good. I never liked the acrylic finish, but the carbon looks good. It reminds me of that 4x5, I think it's called Infinity camera. That's a super limited edition that got made by some crazy guys, and it's all carbon fiber. Then we have Kodak releasing the X-ray stickers. So Kodak has released a design for you to print at home or in a business that will print for you. The X-ray stickers that you can put on packages, you can put on your own film, and so on if you're traveling. So this is for the CT scanners that I mentioned before. So you can download them and you can print it to put anywhere you want, but hopefully your film while you are traveling or shipping it, which is good news. I don't know how many languages it is in, but it's fairly, easy to understand that it says no X-ray. I think X-ray, the word X-ray is pretty much like the word stop when you're driving. It's pretty much universal. So yeah, that's basically what's coming from Kodak. Then we have Lomography announcing Metropolis simple use camera. So the Metropolis, which you guys know is that film that was announced by Lomography, which is a color negative film, even though it's called Lomochrome, which is misleading, has a slightly changed accuracy for colors, a different palette. Reminds me of like the desert, like sunny, deserty kind of look. They made a single-use camera, but it's not a single. It's a simple-use camera. So it's kind of like a point-and-shoot, like those disposable, but it's reloadable, which is very much what Kodak has done and what Ilford has done. I'm pretty sure they're all coming from the same factory somewhere in the world, but yeah, that's pretty cool. And once you shoot your Metropolis roll that's in there, you can shoot whatever you want. And it has like little color flashes, which is very Lomography. If you want to shoot, with different colors and different flashed subjects. Then we have a little bit of news from New 55, and I've mentioned it many times. New 55 closed operations, Famous Format took over. Now Famous Format has opened a new entity called New 55 Film something, and they're going to be buying the assets and the whatever copyrights or the formulas for New 55 film, so they can sell it under New 55 from Soundwave, which was the company of Bob Crowley, who was the founder of New 55 and all that. There's not a lot of information yet, but one thing you do have to know is you can still buy New 55-ish film as PN100 and PN400, which is a 100 speed film, peel apart 4x5 film, instant, and a 400 speed, which is super cool. It gives you a negative and a positive, and the negative you can print. Then, going into other news, Intrepid has announced a 5x7, well, not really announced, they've kind of hinted a 5x7 camera for the photography show. It will be there. I will hopefully get my hands on it and do a little, overview first hands on it. But it's exciting because Intrepid made the 4x5, then they made the 8x10. A lot of people wanted the 5x7. 5x7 is a format that's still kind of like left alone, like it's kind of diminished a lot. But it's still really nice because it's quite a bit bigger than 4x5, but the camera is much smaller than an 8x10. So for those who like 5x7 or 13x18, if you're European, you're, can be getting an Intrepid very soon. Then we have Midtone Machines. This came to me through, I think someone in the news last week told me, how do you not know about Midtone Machines? Honestly, I know what I can see throughout the internet throughout the week. And then I check a lot of websites to see the news. Sadly, this one had totally not been seen by me, but thankfully someone told me. And Midtone Machines is a project to a project that's working on an automated film developing machine. So let me see if I can explain it with other products. So let's say a Jobo and a Phototherm had like some sort of kid. So the good thing about it is that the tank doesn't spin like Jobo. The tank is static and has like two clamshells, so two parts. So the bottom is the liquid container and the top is the light seal part. The reels just move one way and then move the other way, a la Jobo. Then the chemistry gets pumped in and pumped out, and that's the most exciting thing to me. The fact that chemistry is pumped in and pumped out, because Jobos are great. The old version of the Jobos that were automatic were amazing. I have one that failed and is broken at the current moment. But the newer ones, you got to put them through the lift and then you got to lift it up. So you got to be there. And developing film is great, but when you have a lot of film to develop, it's nice to just press a button and kind of like walk away and do something else. In my case, I usually am ironing prints or flattening prints, or I'm spotting prints, or I'm scanning maybe, or whatever it could be. So this is yet a project in development. There will be probably a Kickstarter soon. If you're looking at something like a Jobo, but you don't want a Jobo, or you want something more automatic, this will be your option. It's being designed by, I think, is a rocket scientist, and it sounds kind of crazy, like cartoonish, because I've never met a rocket scientist. Sounds like a movie. But it does look very good. I've seen the videos. I'll leave the link to his website. There's videos of the chemistry pumping in and pumping out. He's got videos of the whole rotation, how it looks, a 3D CAD design. It very much looks like the Phototherm thing, but I'm very excited. And I think we all should, because it's exactly something I've been wanting to see in the market in the last maybe 5-10 years. Is Jobos are great, but there's no competition for them. So it'd be nice to have a little competition. And Jobos haven't been really updated or investigated into in the last, 20 years or something like that. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Then we have a little update coming from Hamish Gill. The Pixel-ltr will be probably available just before, he'll start shipping just before the photography show. And I think there'll be a couple units you can purchase, probably for sure see at the photography show. So if you're a Pixel-ltr and you want a device that's not negative supply price and will help you digitize your film, Pixel-ltr is a pretty good concept. I can't say product yet because it's still not on the market. And I backed it, so hopefully I'll pick mine up during the photography show and I'll show you guys. And then we have a little bit of sad news here. For anyone that's been part of Photrio and other forums, Photo Engineer, the user going through that name, has passed away. He was, if I'm not wrong, an ex-Kodak chemist that's helped hundreds, if not thousands of people throughout forums. And honestly, it's not something that I usually mention, but when there's so many people needing information, and having someone that actually can be reliable information is really important. That's what I try to do on my news and my channel. And Photo Engineer did that through forums. So if you were one of those that, read something from him at Photrio, which I have, or the old APUG, you'll be sad about it. I'm sad because I've read a lot of very important information from him, and a lot of friends have been, helped through his knowledge on forums. So yeah, sad news there. He was 82, passed away I think a week ago or so. So sorry for, him and his family. And yeah, that's the news for this week. As I mentioned, Negative Supply is sponsoring the news. There's a Kickstarter going on for their 120 film holder. There'll be some extra stretch goal next week, hopefully, that I can announce. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, as always, there's an email below. You can send me any news you hear about. You might take as given that I know about. Sometimes I don't. So send me an email. It's very helpful. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.